Hello and welcome to another episode of That Sports Guys podcast. I am Craig Forrestall. I am That Sports Guy. Go ahead and find me on Twitter at that_sports_guy, where you can find all of my latest football takes. Also, NFLDraftDiamonds.com is proud to feature the That Sports Guy podcast on its website. Stop by NFLDraftDiamonds.com, your official draft coverage king. Hello and welcome to another player profile interview. I am Craig Forrestall. Everyone knows me from Twitter as at that_sports_guy. Go ahead and find me, but today it is not about me. It is about Coastal Carolina defensive end Tarron Jackson. Tarron, how are we doing today?
Oh, man, I'm doing great.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. And now, before we jump into the football and all the ability right there, I got to ask you, before you got to Coastal Carolina, Aiken, South Carolina, what's it like growing up in Aiken?
Oh, man, Aiken, South Carolina, man, I love it. It's a very, very country town, but, we got a small amount of people, but I love it, man. I love the culture, and I love the family, the family aspect that growing up in a small town gives you, and being close with my family and everybody in my school, I loved it.
Hey, and you speak about that tradition in town. I got to ask, there's a real big football tradition in Aiken, and especially at your high school, Silver Bluff High. You guys have won a couple of championships, but you didn't start playing football until your sophomore year of high school. Just how did that whole thing happen?
So, yeah, when I was growing up, I was a big basketball fan. I love watching Kobe play, and he was kind of definitely a role model for me, and I just, definitely thought I was going to be playing basketball until I, got to high school, and I was 6'2", about 200-something pounds, but I really wasn't, a point guard. So I was like, don't know if that's going to work out. But, I always did enjoy football. But I played a couple years when I was younger, like in the rec league. But I didn't play in middle school, and I didn't start back up until my sophomore year. And honestly, it was one of the guys on the team that talked to me, and kind of motivated me to just go out there and, see how I like it again. So when I went out there, I fell back in love with it. And then ever since then, I just been, going at it.
So when you hopped back on the field after that, kind of gap in between on those hoop dreams, when you got back on the football field, was it like riding a bike? Did it just come back natural? Were you out there dominating, or did it take you a minute to get back into the swing of things?
I would definitely say it took me a little while to get back into the swing of things. I had some great role models. So in the beginning, I definitely was, looking at what they was doing and watching in the weight room and just trying to, imitate that with some of the older guys that we had going to different places. But it definitely was, like you said, trying to, get back on that bike. I fell a couple times, but after a while, I say about halfway through the season, I started to get a good feel for it again.
And then we were saying also with the basketball background, you were big into track too. I saw somewhere that you competed in a pretty unique combination of events. It was the triple jump, the long jump, and the shot put. How do you go from throwing the shot to jumping in the long jump? That's kind of a big opposite ends of the world thing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would kind of contribute my aspect of the jumping to come from running. I used to love running, and I feel like that kind of helped me with a lot of the jumping stuff. And that definitely, I feel like that jumping and going through track and doing the jumping and shot put definitely helped me in football too, especially with a lot of the stunt stuff and stuff we got to take, just that explosion off the ball. I feel like the triple jump especially, that's probably one of the harder events to me.
And now, after high school, you got to Coastal Carolina, and the last 2 seasons, you've put together back-to-back all-conference, all-Sun Belt performances. And in 2019, you set the school record for most sacks in a season with 10. How good does it feel to be playing at this high of a level, given some of the bumps in the road that happened early on in the career with some of the injuries that cut your season short?
It feels good, but I just feel like it's definitely a testament of those shortcomings. I feel like all of those are what propelled me to be where I am now, and I still have a long way to go, but I feel like those injuries and stuff, it just helped motivated me more each year, just trying to get better. And I feel like last year I just, was way more detailed in my game, and it's going to be more detail to come.
And let's stick on that. You said that there's still more growth for your game. We talked about some of the individual accomplishments over the past couple of years. What is left for you to accomplish, and how are you trying to grow your game this offseason?
It's so much still left on the table. I just talked to one of my coaches the other day. I definitely left a lot of things on the field last year that this year I definitely gonna have to get better at, and just making my run steps a little bit better, getting a little bit more fluent on my pass rush, a little bit more flexible. It's definitely a lot of stuff, and just still learning the game. I'm a student of the game, and I'm a firm believer that you never really reach your peak. You just got to keep trying to get better every day. So I just been trying to keep getting better on every aspect. I feel like every aspect of my game, the run, the pass, everything has to get better.
And in the Sun Belt Conference, there's a lot of talent. In this last draft in April, there were 7 players from the Sun Belt Conference that were picked. And 2 of those players were offensive linemen Kevin Dotson and Robert Hunt. Maybe if you could just talk about the overall ability in the Sun Belt Conference, and why are people still sleeping on the conference?
I feel like we definitely have a lot of talent in our conference, and we're definitely overlooked. But I mean, our record in the conference speaks for itself. We beat a lot of Power 5 guys and a lot of guys in other conferences, and even our bowl game percentage, I think it speaks for itself. So I feel like in the future, the Sun Belt is just going to keep getting better, and then eventually, people are going to have to respect it.
And now with the team for the upcoming season, what's the number one goal? What are you guys playing for?
We playing for a Sun Belt championship. That's our goal. That's what everybody's locked in on right now, and we want to win that Sun Belt championship.
And you were talking about the Power 5 opponents and, the way that the conference has fared against those teams. Talk to me about your expectations for what you guys will be facing with your Power 5 opponents coming up in September when you begin the season.
Our expectations are to win. We're going to go out there. We're going to compete. We know what we have to do. We're focusing on ourselves. We're trying to improve everything in our game and the mistakes and stuff that we had last year. We're trying to build off of them. But what our expectation is to win.
And I saw recently you said that you would say your game matches up pretty well with Dwight Freeney. Maybe if you could just talk about what similarities you think exist between you and Dwight, and then also who are some other guys that you've tried to model your game after?
When I said Dwight, definitely, I like to watch guys that's around my same size. And Dwight was an undersized guy, but he was a bigger, bulkier guy. And he was fast off the ball. And I try to definitely pride myself on getting off the ball fast every time and, showing that offensive lineman that same rush. And that's why I feel like my game was kind of modeled after him. And a couple other guys that I try to watch is like DeMarcus Lawrence. He actually went to my high school. I feel like we're around the same size and have some of the same aspects of our game with our, violence with hands and stuff. So those are a couple guys that I try to model my game after.
And it's been kind of a weird off season for not just you, but everyone in college football, as you've been away from campus and kind of away from that normal structure. So with you guys being away from campus, how have the coaches been able to stay in contact with you? Did they send you guys home with like a workout packet or a nutrition packet or some sort of, I guess, guidelines or rules or steps to kind of take while you were away from campus and away from the facilities?
Yes, we're actually on campus right now, but when we were back home, they sent out a workout every day for everybody to do, and it was kind of, you got to have accountability with yourself. It was definitely tough, and it's hard to, simulate some of the stuff that goes on in the weight room when you're competing with other guys, but you just have to hold yourself to a certain standard. And now that we're back, it's still, even now, it's still kind of a hurdle when we're working out and stuff. We got to work out with a mask on and stuff, and we got to stay separated. But we just trying our best to simulate that competitiveness between players. We're at different racks, but we're still trying to, egg everybody else on it and keep that same atmosphere in the weight room and stuff.
And Tarron, I got to ask you, because when I was doing some research, looking into some of the things that you accomplished in your career, I saw something off the field that kind of struck me, and I wanted to ask you about it. I saw that you've been helping out with the family home construction and remodeling business while you were away from campus and you were back home during that coronavirus period. Maybe if you could just take us through what a normal day is like for you on the job site, and is it really as dramatic as they make it seem on all those TV shows where they're flipping houses and stuff like that?
So I mean, honestly, yes and no. My father, he's a contractor, so most of the contract work he does, I definitely would say once it's done, the difference is amazing. But you know, it's not as glamorous as they make it look on some of the TV shows and stuff. But normally, just a normal day, me and my pops, we wake up around 6 o'clock. We try to get on the job around 6:30 after we've gotten the materials and stuff from those, and you know, we just try to go at it. We probably work till around five or six that day. You know, so just we work probably about 4 or 5 days out of the week to try to complete a task. And normally we stay wherever we're at. So you know, we're in Columbia or something. We try to stay there for a couple of days to complete whatever work we have to do at a certain house.
And then with that work ethic, we can see that that was applied towards your degree. You recently graduated with a degree in applied mathematics and actuarial science. Why was it so important to push yourself so hard academically? And where does the love of numbers come from?
I just feel like I always, since I was young, my family always taught me to put as much effort as I do on the field in the classroom, and that's something that definitely has stuck with me. And when I'm in the classroom, I compete just like I'm on the field. You know, I don't like for guys to get higher grades than me on the tests or quizzes and stuff. I just, you know, I try to keep that same mindset, and I definitely feel like it's definitely important to have that mindset because you never know when football can be over. You know, you can have an injury, you can have something like that, and I feel like having that degree gives you the upper hand.
Definitely. And then just the second part of that, were you always in love with numbers? Like, was math always your favorite class, or was it just something that struck you once you got to college and you just took a class and related it more so to money?
I would have to say honestly, around my sophomore year of high school, I had a teacher, and it was just a simple algebra class, and you know, just the way he taught the class, and just my understanding of it, and how I could just apply just certain stuff with even my pops and his business. You know, he used to let me, you know, write up some of the bills and kind of get a feel for certain stuff that happens in the business. And I feel like that's when I kind of, you know, started really liking the numbers and stuff, just seeing how money flows through different areas of business and stuff.
And Tron, we spent a lot of time with on the field accomplishments and your time at Coastal Carolina. But if you'll be a good sport, I want to go to some stuff off the field. And I'm going to put you on the spot. What's that song you're embarrassed to admit you like?
Oh man, see, this is a tough question. Um, Let me see. I have a broad music, you know, choice. So I really don't have a song, but I say I like Tennessee whiskey. It's not a in the car or anything, but when I'm home, I definitely, you know, I turn it on the speaker and listen to it.
Hey, like you said, you grew up in a country town, so those country roots are going to come through every once in a while.
Yeah, hey, they come out.
Hey, and then what's the dream car?
My dream car. I'm not one of the, you know, I don't like really a lot of the Lamborghinis and stuff. Just a simple, you know, a Dodge Demon Charger. I love those cars, those muscle cars. So that's something I want.
And then thinking back with all your classes at Coastal Carolina, what was the most memorable or the most interesting class that you took?
I say the most interesting class I took probably was let me see. I would have to say probably advanced calculus. It's probably the most challenging too. But that definitely probably was my most interesting class. You know, that class gave me like a new understanding of math. It's not just numbers. You know, I really had to learn the definition and the just the way math, the way numbers and stuff flow through different systems. It just was a different way of thinking, and that's probably the most interesting class I took at Coastal.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you any follow-up questions on that class because I'm not that smart. So we're going to keep it rolling. We're going to go to this one. What's the best restaurant around Coastal Carolina? If I'm somewhere near campus and I'm hungry, where do I have to eat?
It just depends on what kind of food you want. If you want some soul food, I love Big Mike's, And if you're looking for some wings and stuff, we have a place right around campus called Coastal Ale House. They have great wings, and if you want some Italian some Italian food, we have a place called Rotelli's that's pretty good. You know, if you want some Japanese, we have like Jay Hibachi is pretty good. So you know, it's definitely a lot of food places in Myrtle Beach that you can get some great food.
Hey, definitely. It sounds like I'm going to have to make a stop in Myrtle Beach. And now, Tarron, I want to finish it up with one question right here. You just won $1 million, but you can only donate it to one charity or one cause. What's it going to be?
I would. This is a no-brainer for me. I would donate it to the Cancer Foundation for leukemia. When I was younger, my brother he passed of leukemia, and that's something that even whenever I do get money, that's something I was going to do either way to donate some money to that foundation.
Absolutely, and I'm sorry to hear that. I've lost loved ones as well, and it's just a difficult thing to see. And before we get out of here, Tarron, what is the one thing that we all need to be on the lookout for with the Coastal Carolina program this upcoming season? What's that one thing?
Our defensive line, man. We just got one of my brothers. He left he actually transferred to NC State, but then he came back, and he was the another first conference all conference guy. And we got our whole D line coming back. We got CJ Brewer D tackle, and we got John Clayton, some older guys. And this year the D line and our defense, you know, we got Teddy Gallagher, Silas Kelly. We got a healthy linebacker core coming back, so it's gonna be something special.
You heard it here. The defense is going to be something special. So look out for it with the Coastal Carolina football team this upcoming season. For Tarron Jackson, I'm Craig Forrestall. Until next time, stay safe and be easy.
Hey everybody, Craig Forrestall. Thanks for tuning in and listening to another episode of That Sports Guys podcast. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at @that_sports_guy to catch all the latest updates and podcast episodes. Until next time, stay safe and be easy.